Intro. Let's first learn what are the subject matters. Sarga, universal creation by the Supreme Lord. Visarga, secondary creation by Lord Brahma. Thanam, positioning of living entities in various planetary systems. Posanam, the Lord's protection for the devotees. Uti, inclination to act. Manvantara, the region of Manus. Isanukatha, the topics of the Lord's various incarnations and his devotees. Nirodha, annihilation. Mukti, liberation. Asraya, the supreme shelter. Lord Krishna. First, let's go onto the sloka. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanamutaya manvantara shanukatha nirodha muktirashaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, Verse 1. Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, in the Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 divisions of the statements regarding the following: the creation of the universe, sub-creation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of Manus, the signs of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and summum bonum. 1. Sarga, universal creation by the Supreme Lord. Sarga is defined as the elemental creation of 16 principles of matter, namely the 5 gross elements, Panchabhutas, the 5 objects of sense perception, Tanmantras, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, Gyanendriyas, and the mind is known as Sarga. The 5 gross elements, Panchabhutas, are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The 5 objects of sensual perception, Tanmantras, are sound, form, taste, smell, and touch. And the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, Gyanendriyas, are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Together with the mind, these 16 principles are created by the first Purusha incarnation, Mahavishnu. Within these 16 principles, 8 other principles exist subtly, making there a total of 24 principles of material existence. Visharga, the secondary creation. Visarga is defined as the secondary creation by Brahma carried out through the interaction of 3 modes of nature is known as Visarga. By manipulating the 16 original principles of the material existence and by the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva is goodness, Rajas is passion, and Tamas is ignorance. Lord Brahma carries out a subsequent creation, more properly described as an assembling of universal ingredients. Thanam, the planetary systems. Thanam is defined as follows. The true situation, Thanam, is a realm of Vaikuntha. The entire creation by the Lord is to enable the conditioned souls to satisfy their material desire to lord over the material energy. As such, according to their desires, the Lord creates a suitable situation, Thanam, for them to dwell in. Within the universe, these situations can be divided into 14 main categories, known technically as bhuvanas, or planetary systems, and 8,400,000 subcategories commonly known as species of life, from the topmost Thanam of Brahmaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma, down to the lowest Thanam of Patal Loka. All situations are destructible. In every situation, the conditioned living entity is conquered by birth and death. Only by attaining to our eternal constitution situation in the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha, we can conquer the birth and death of this material world. Thus, the true sthanam of the living entity is the realm of Vaikuntha. All other temporary situations within this material world cause one to become a victim of material suffering, simply shifting from one situation to the next. Posanam, protection by the Lord. Posanam is defined as follows. Protection, Posanam, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Posanam can be defined in 2 ways. According to the mentally of the living entity, for the conditioned souls, Posanam refers to material maintenance. It is the Lord who fulfills the desires of all living entities. Nityanityam chetansha chetanam ekabhunam yo vidyadhati kaman. The supreme eternal among all eternals, the supremely conscious among all conscious living entities. It is that Supreme One among the many who fulfill the desires of all. For the devotees of the Lord, Posanam refers to the Lord's causeless mercy and protection. Protection from hunger is the lowest form of protection which the Lord offers to the conditioned living entities. For the devotees, the Lord's protection is protection from the illusion of Maya. The Lord gives the devotee the strength to always remember Him and engage in His devotional service. Utaya, the creative impetuous. Utaya is defined as follows. The impetuous for activity, Utaya, is the desire for fruitive work. The conditioned soul forgets that the Lord is his eternal protector and maintainer, and thus, and maintenance, this desire for fruitive activity is the driving force behind all work within this material world. The karma vasanas are the accumulated residue of one's previous activities. Every material activity we perform creates a residual impression within our consciousness, which is carried with us life after life. The sum total of these impressions form our creative impetus to work. The true impetus of the living entity should be to go back to Godhead, to the supreme abode of Vaikuntha, and activities performed in that direction from the right path of work. Manvantara, the change of Manus. Manvantara is defined as the region of Manus. Manvantaras are for establishing the eternal religious principles. Manu is the father of mankind, the progenitor, empowered to guide the human race towards self-realization. Manu provides revealed scriptures to mankind which regulate their activities in a manner that will be for their eternal welfare. When the living entities accept such a regulated path, the Lord provides them with all protection by which they may attain their constitutional situation in Vaikuntha. Thus, the desire to go back to Godhead and regulated activities performed to achieve that goal form the proper path of action. Isanukatha, the science of God. Isanukatha is defined as follows. The science of God, Isanukatha, describes the incarnations of personality of Godhead and His different activities together with the activities of His great devotees. The entire material creation is for the ultimate purpose of the living entities, salvation. When the conditioned living entities utilize the creation for secondary purposes, such as material fruitive activity, the Lord incarnates to reclaim these forgetful souls. The Lord directly delivers living entities by His divine appearance, as well as by its recorded history. The Supreme Lord is so potent that simply by hearing about His transcendental activities in His various incarnations, one becomes free from material bondage. Thus, the topics of the Lord and His devotees, which constitute the science of God, should be given respectful oral reception. Nirotha, the dissolution. Nirodha is defined as follows. The merging of the living entity, along with his conditioned living tendency, with the mystic line down the Mahavishnu, is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation, or Nirotha. As we have briefly mentioned before, the entire material creation offers two facilities to the conditioned living entities. The living entities may either utilize it to fulfill their desire to lord it over the material nature, or they may utilize it to go back to Godhead. The spiritual abode of Vaikuntha for the living entities who take advantage of the science of God as propagated by the Manus and who develop a desire to act in such a regulated manner, the Lord provides them full protection from the material energy and resituates them in their proper situation in Vaikuntha. For the other living entities who choose to disregard the science of God, the Lord gives them as an interim period of relief at the time of dissolution. This temporary period of relief is technically called Nirodha, or the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. All the living entities, along with their conditional tendencies, vasanas, merge into the body of Mahavishnu to wait another creation and another opportunity to take up the science of God. Though the physical bodies are given up at this time, the subtle body, Sukshma Shariras, remain with the living entities, along with their latent desires. This is indicated by the words Atmana Saha Shaktibhi. Mukti, liberation. Mukti is defined as follows. Liberation, Mukti, is a permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable, gross and subtle material bodies. And Asraya, the supreme shelter. Asraya is defined as the Supreme One who is celebrated as a Supreme Being, or the Supreme Soul is the Supreme Source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the Supreme Shelter, the Absolute Truth. So that's it that I have for this video.